Hi there. Thank you for registering for the Divine Words class, the series of classes, or even if you're just coming to one. There are a couple of things that I think will be very helpful that will help us really focus our time together, that I thought I would just make this little video so that you could watch it before you even arrive. And first off, kind of know what to expect, like what we're going to be doing, but also the basic premise of how and why self-hypnosis upon these divine words and practicing what's called the spectrum of consciousness, why is that helpful and how it kind of works. So first off, what to expect. Now we're just going to meet for an hour and a half. And most of the time is going to be very experiential. And I'm going to do a brief amount of talking within it, but I'm also very interested in getting your feedback about what these words mean to you. Now, I call them divine words, each one in the entire spectrum of consciousness, which means that even the heavier, denser aspects of what we would call a divine word, let's take the one I'm working on right now, which would be the gift of diplomacy comes from the shadow of conflict, and what arises from it is peace. And so sitting in that diplomacy, I am diplomatic, and discovering that peace being possible within myself. And it is through conflict that I realize it, because it is only by being able to see what I feel conflicted around that allows me to heal and realize my triggers, my what do I need to be diplomatic about? How can I be more compassionate with myself so that I become the presence of peace in the world? So as we sit and go through, and we'll decide as a group what we want, which of the words that we're really going to sit with. Might be two, it might be three, it might be one. We may do one in the entire time, but we'll sit and we'll dive into some of the shadow aspects of, let's say, conflict and how that arises inside of ourselves, journal a bit, do a little self-hypnosis, go into a light, mild trance that you have full control during the whole time, very much like guided visualization. And then coming out of that and realizing where in our lives that this is now able to show up where it wasn't before. And so the premise of this is not to go into the subconscious to say, I'm going to fix you. It's more going in with what we call the spirit of inquiry. We're curious about this information. So the subconscious is such a beautiful sea of intelligence and creativity that it offers up to us what it is that we can see about it. Now, doing this in a group is beautiful because as a group, we get to have other ideas popcorned off of each other. So we will create a safe space each time. And so just to kind of affirm that, to set our expectations, that as you come in, we're not going in to fix each other or to give advice or anything like that. Just come and bring yourself open to this curiosity about what these words might reveal to you. And if you are so willing, to share what you discover about you. And in doing that, we become mirrors to each other. And then we're able to expand our consciousness even more. So that's what we're going to do, setting the expectations of we gather. We're going to talk a little bit about these spectrums of words. It's all the same energy. They just sort of denser and to lighter, like the vibrations shift through the spectrum and sitting with those and doing some self-hypnosis and creating some affirmations, maybe even some poetry around what these words mean to us and how they can come out into our lives. Okay, so why this works and how this works, it very briefly, is that we're basically working kind of with these 3 levels of our consciousness. So the external being our conscious mind, right? So I don't want to spend too much time in each class going over this. So I just want to kind of give this to you in a nutshell. The conscious mind is your choosing, like what I want to choose, my will, my desire, my choice. But it cannot be acted upon unless the subconscious agrees with it. All right. So here we are. Our conscious mind is our thinking mind. And it's wonderful. I can point my attention towards something I want to be with. Right. But that's not the whole story. Right. We know we can't force change. We can't force epiphany. And that conscious mind just is almost like where I want to point my attention. The subconscious mind is the body that houses my nervous system, my feelings, my emotions, my old stories, but also my creative intelligence that allows me to create images and really to make reasoning around what I deeply believe. So imagine the power that lies in that. And as that starts to shift and expand rather than contract out of limiting thoughts, as we start to go to larger thoughts, being, larger paradoxes, right? As we are able to hold a larger space, that subconscious is reflected in our health, the way we feel both physically and emotionally, and our whole nervous system responds to that. But here's the magic gate, is that the third kind of area of our consciousness, which is larger than all of it, is the superconscious mind. So we have our conscious mind that kind of makes our executive decisions, but it is informed by our subconscious mind that is operating on what we believe and what we've really allowed to be part of who we are. The superconscious mind has no limit, and it is your higher self, your higher mind, your connection to the greater spirit. However you want to phrase that. This is definitely a non-denominational class. So whatever concept of spirit, bring it. So in the superconscious mind fields, we have infinite problem solving. This is where spontaneous healing happens. And the more we can hang out in that space, those statements of, I am peace, as we really resonate and connect with that, it goes out into the rest of the field. And that influence that we have as we heal ourselves, it seeps out into the world. So by bringing peace within ourselves, by resolving our own inner conflicts and becoming more compassionate and diplomatic in our thought, speech to ourselves, we create peace. We become peace. And then that comes into all of our conversations. Now, there are 64 different spectrums that we can play with. So I really look forward to exploring your thoughts and what your subconscious and superconscious connection brings into this conversation. So thank you again for registering. I hope this video is helpful to you to kind of frame what to expect. I mean, really some basic housekeeping is just be comfortable. Maybe wear layers because the temperature may shift and change. There will be water and some tea there. And I will really keep it to an hour and a half, no longer than that. So if you have any plans afterwards, you can be sure to make them. And it is going to be every other Sunday. So I'll be sending you a reminder email the day before. And just give me a holler if you have any other questions. And thank you again.